Hey, so here's a wee walkthrough to the test that you're going to be doing. Right, so here's the solutions. I've done it in class, so we'll do this one quite quickly. Right, so what we've got, first question is asking, what happens if the person enters 12? Now this while loop will loop, or go into the while loop if the person's entered something that's less than 1 or it's above 10. So obviously 12's above 10, so that condition satisfied. So what will actually happen is, first thing I'll do, display an error message, then the second thing I'll do is I'll just ask the user to re-enter a level. So you need to remember 2 marks, so 2 points. Next thing we have here is essentially it wants a PIN number and a username to allow you to access the network. So think about your username and password you use. And it's just saying that there's a wee problem in this code. Okay, now when they talk about logic errors, this is where your eyes should hopefully be drawn into this line. So that's line 3, because logic is when you're talking about ands and ors and nots. So that's where line 3 is, because what it has just now is it's just basically saying if your username's valid or your PIN number's valid, we want them both to be valid to allow access to the network. So all you need to do is replace or with and. Right, we've also got this company that are making soft drinks, so they have to have all these different costs, and then their profit is how much they're selling it minus the actual overall manufacturing cost. So when they're asking you the number of variables, you really want to be thinking about each individual piece of information. Right, so there's 4 there, we've got manufacturing costs, so these are 6 separate pieces of information you need, and that's for your 1 mark. Or your 5 marks here, what you're really wanting to do, if you can choose pseudocode or programming language, if you choose pseudocode, it'll get you more used to actually looking at pseudocode questions, and there won't be as many lines to actually do, because with pseudocode you don't have a line declaring variables or anything like that. So what we've got here is we want to get the values for all these costs, so water costs, flavouring costs and labour costs. So these are values you have to type in. Also your selling price, the manufacturing cost and the profit are actually as a result of a calculation of these. So we're only actually going to ask the user to type in 4 values, so that's why we've got 4 lines talking about receive, and also remember mention the actual variable type. So essentially this 1 line takes care of maybe 2 lines in Visual Basic of actually declaring the variable, and then another line of actually getting the input from it. We then, once we've got your inputs, we then work out your manufacturing cost, and after you've worked out your manufacturing cost, you then work out your profit, and then you just send the profit to display. So think of that as your inputs, think of that as the process, and then think of that as just the output. So that's 6 marks altogether, these 2 questions. Your next one, and again, some folk get the exceptional and extreme a bit confused. Now, if you look at this, you've got to take in a water cost, and it has to be between 10 pence and 50 pence. Okay, so that's the boundaries, so that's the limits. So if somebody's entered a number that's out with what's accepted, that's called exceptional data. Okay, if somebody types in it's within the limit, but not including the smallest or the largest, that's called normal. And if we're actually enter data that is right on the lowest value or boundary of the highest and the lowest, that's called extreme. So that's why 0.05 is exceptional, 0.10 or 10 pence, that's the lowest it should accept, so that's extreme, and the 50 pence is another example of extreme. Okay, so you've got 2 types of extreme data, the smallest value and the highest value. Anything out with the range, so it might be 51 pence or it might be 55 pence written in English, that's known as exceptional. So extreme and normal, they're 2 types of data it should accept and process. Exceptional shouldn't really be entered, but your program should be able to cope with that. Some other examples of exceptional, there you go. Here's a program that has to take between 1 and 900. So if you have -1 or 901 or even just a random word like cat, that's known as exceptional. So hopefully you'll start seeing that these questions there'll certainly always be a question asking you if you know the difference between extreme and exceptional, and no doubt they'll actually ask you to provide some test data for it, just like this. Right, your next one, developing a wee mobile phone app, and if you have a wee look here, what you've got is, if you see the words of the data structure and you see wee square brackets for the word counter, chances are that's going to be an array. Okay, so this one's a wee bit more inconvenient, just having two sheets. One that contains a condition, right? So a condition is when they've taken a value and compare it with something, and as a result of the condition being true or false, it might carry out a different output or a different process. So, condition here, that's a condition, right? If new weight is greater than previous weight counter. Okay, so line 17 is the condition. Calculate, identify a line that stores a value in an array. Well, if you're talking about setting a data structure to something else, that's basically writing a value into it. Okay, so that's line 20. And last but not least, accepts input value. So we'll be looking for a line that talks about receive. So stores a value, look for a line that talks about set. This one will be talking about receive. And in line, can't see there, line 16 we talk about receive. Okay, so that's taking a value in, that's your condition, and that's setting a data structure, in this case it's an array, to another value. That's your answers here. If you misspell something, that's known as a syntax error. So instead of until, you've written until. So that's a syntax error, and that's the answer you need to give. Don't just say spelling mistake. Right, here's a wee program in which it's basically asking you to enter a new weight until the weight that you've entered is greater than 20, and the logic says and, so it must mean both conditions are satisfied, greater than 20 and less than 70. So that's basically called a condition loop, because it keeps on looping until this condition is met. So if you see a loop in which they have a condition in it, well, it's called a conditional loop. Right, so that's your condition. Just like, you see that? Just like that was your condition as well. Right. And how would you stop it having, was it state an input the user could enter to enable the program to continue to line 18? Well, just enter a number that is greater than 20 and it's less than 70. Right, here we go. What they want, a complex condition. So a complex condition contains more than one condition, and it will enter school if you enter an age between 5 and 18. Right, the word inclusive means encoding, right, so it actually includes 5 and 18, so don't be missing out the equal sign, because you'd lose your mark. So you get 1 mark for saying and getting these two conditions correct, you get your second mark. So what they're saying is, if your age is greater or equal to 5 and it's less than or equal to 18, i.e. it's between 5 and 18, then the person goes to school. So they're just saying create a complex condition, so you don't need to worry about then having a line saying send school to display. They're just after the condition. That's not to say other questions might ask you to do that, but they'll specify that in the question. What we've got is we're receiving, well, guess it's less than 1 or it's greater than 80. It's an invalid guess, so you have to type in a value and it has to be between that to be valid. Okay, so if it is less than 1 or if it's greater than 80, it's invalid. Normal test data, well, any number that's within that range, so 45, 43, etc. So it's between 1 and 80, and any number that's out with that, so -5 isn't. The word cat, dog, porcupine, whatever you want to say, right? Right, program's not very readable if it doesn't have indentation, some white spaces, meaningful variable names. add comments as well. So there's a number of them, so there's only 2 marks, but there's a good handful. If you have a wee look here, they're talking about what data types password. Well, that's a string, because string can hold numbers and letters. Okay, so that's obviously got numbers, but it's also got letters, alphanumeric. And that's the last one. Right, so number of chickens. So it's basically asking you to feed chickens for 1 month, how many kilograms it eats. Right, so number of chickens, well, you're not going to be feeding 2.5 chickens, so that's going to be integer. Price per kilo, well, the price might be like £2.50, so that's going to be single. So whole numbers with decimal points, and it's either going to be full price or not. So you have a wee look here, and if you see a variable being set to something like true or false, one of 2 values, that's known as boolean. You can maybe think of boolean as it's got 2 letters the same, right, next to each other. I don't know if that'll help or not. Right, but boolean is it's either true or false, or yes or no. And that is a very quick 11 minutes of your test. Good luck.